Hello and welcome to our show, Crooked Doctors. Today is Friday, February 21st, 2014, and we're taping in advance because I'm going to be traveling all of this week. And Jason, we have Jason Berg on the phone. Hi, Jason.
How you doing there, folks?
Wow, you're coming in loud and clear. We're taping this on Saturday, February 15th, and the snow is just coming down terrible in New York. How is it in New Jersey?
Not that bad, but still it's coming down.
So we lost William Doherty. He was going to call in, but I'm assuming because of the snow that there was a problem. So we'll hook up with Bill Doherty. You know he's a regular host on our show. So I will find out what happened to him. I'm sure with the way the snow's coming down that he's having a hard time. But in the meantime, you're calling in from New Jersey. You look great. I got your photograph up there. And what we're going to do is, I'm still sick, obviously, so people ask what this is on my face. This is a procedural mask that you can buy in the drugstore, and basically it keeps my germs to me, so when I cough or I don't accidentally infect some of the technical crew who are just sitting a few feet away from me, the technical director helping me. And it also protects me from dust and pollen and other things that aggravate my condition a little bit because I'm trying to get better here. So this is my procedural mask. It's still Lydia Radin and Crooked Doctors. And we're going to continue what we did yesterday, Jason, which was it's not just a matter of us building our cases and driving our cases forward civilly and criminally and changing the system. We've been very successful in getting a new law passed in Jersey. You and Bill Doherty, William Doherty, have been very successful in forcing Jersey City to enforce an ordinance from 28 years ago, which will provide 24/7 security guards. So we have the initiative on many fronts. And one of the things that we're doing is we're taking our country back. You're a state coordinator for a group called the National Liberty Alliance, which is constituting common law grand juries. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have 21 counties in New Jersey, and we have 5 that have been reconstituted. And next week, on February the 18th, Tuesday, we're having another common law grand jury for Somerset County at North Plainfield Library on that date from 6:30 to 9 o'clock.
So if people want to learn more about constituting a common law grand jury, which means you can get a group of individuals from your county together, and you can investigate and indict criminals. Can you please talk about the meeting very slowly, given the meeting place, the date and the time, so people can come if they're interested?
Well, the meeting is going to be at the North Plainfield Public Library at North Plainfield, New Jersey. That's in Somerset County. It's going to be held from 6:30 to 9 o'clock. That's going to be a Tuesday, February the 18th. I know that this is a little dated by the time it gets on there. But again, they can come in and call. If they have any questions, they can call me at 201-240-5351. Basically, what we're doing is educating the public in the county of Summit. And from there, we will be, after they see the video of 35 minutes, then we ask for people showing their hands how many who they want to establish a common law grand jury. And once we have that, then the people are then sign in affidavits, jurors' oaths, and they become members of the common law grand jury. And understand, a common law grand jury goes back to 1215, when the barons of England were getting very upset about the double standards and other malfeasance being done in the name of the king. And they told the king, if you don't do what we want with the 63 agreements, you're not going to be supported by us. And the king without barons is baronless.
So basically, the legal principles and the foundation for establishing a common law grand jury is very well founded. It's centuries old. We have a Supreme Court case. This is not the only educational broadcast that we're going to do about citizens being able to exercise their rights with the common law grand jury. We even have a recent Supreme Court case where Supreme Court Justice Judge Scalia validates the common law grand jury as an independent body. You have investigative powers. You can indict people for crimes. So it's not just that, you know, the purpose of my show, I want to get into a brief overview. We're going to look at a video for about 27 minutes, and then we're going to show the website for National Liberty Alliance and your phone number. This is not the only time that we're going to talk about this, but it's not just about, my show, Crooked Doctors, is not just about showing how the crooked doctors, the crime and corruption in Jersey City and Jersey led to cover up and more crimes in New York, but we're setting up our cases. We're going to do something about it, because it's not just about publicizing the facts, but what action steps are we doing to stop these criminals? Is that correct, Jason?
That's correct. And the thing is that you don't even need to show criminal activity. If you even suspect any wrongdoing, a grand jury can be convened to investigate. And what's really fantastic is someone is brought up on a crime of a statute, and they have found that that law is not enforceable. It's called a nullification. They can actually turn around and say this does not apply. In the case in one of the juries, it wasn't common law, but it was a trial that in Texas, where a man's house was broken into by a SWAT team. They were unannounced for a drug raid. He shot a sergeant dead, who was found innocent because it was a home invasion. And people don't realize in Texas you have the right to protect your property against any invaders that come into your home. So the police not making the announcement were in violation of their oath they took.
Okay, so the common law grand jury is very powerful. It can defend people. It can indict criminals. It can get justice. In my case, let me do the big picture overviews very quickly. And the video that we're going to see speaks for itself, and then we'll come back to you. Because right now, so let me do the big picture overview. Very quickly, the crimes that I'm talking about involving crooked doctors in New York and New Jersey, these are crooked doctors at Jersey City Medical Center. If you can you focus in on, can you zoom in on this a little bit? There we go. We got the big picture in Jersey is basically the crimes in New Jersey led to more cover-up and more crimes in New York. The crimes in New Jersey involved Ed DeFazio, who was the former Hudson County prosecutor. Now he's a judge. He's been a co-conspirator in financial fraud in my case since 2005. So this is the big picture without getting lost in the details. You're constituting a common law grand juries in the state of New Jersey. I will be working with others to constitute common law grand juries in New York. So we are going to be taking action. It's not just a matter of us complaining. We want action. We want corrective action taken, which includes criminal trials if we don't get satisfaction. And then the overall big picture as I'm persecuted through life is, you know, my problem started at Yeshiva University. They already stipulated to the fact that they fraudulently induced me into entering their medical school based on false promises in the admissions process. So, you know, stipulating to fraud, and by the way, this is also stipulating to fraud in the administration of federal student loans, and I will get into that detail some more. They already admitted this, and I'm going to be bringing this to the FBI. Remember, last week I played
just a point of information.
Sure.
Now, they admitted the fact that there was a fraud. What? And the thing is that you have the right to address your grievances of things done to you. Yet, the establishment, the authorities have not taken the Yeshiva University up on these frauds. And what is the reason for their noncompliance with their responsibilities of being the authority?
That's a very good question, and that leads to the big picture, which is I'm dealing with the same sort of racism here in New York. You know, the Reverend Al Sharpton used to say there's more racism here in New York than there is down south. And it's very true. And some of the racism that I'm dealing with is the racism of Yeshiva University. This is the racism that Orthodox Jews expressed for non-Orthodox Jews. They were found to discriminate on the basis of religion in the Diane Persky case. So they were discriminating against a conservative Jewish woman. I'm not Jewish, they discriminated against me. So you got rich donors like Rita and Stanley Kaplan. They donate to Yeshiva University. They also donate to the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party uses their money to get elected officials like District Attorney Vance elected so that the victims of Yeshiva University get no relief. So what you got here is a good old boy system, and it leads to a corrupt one-party system where those who are part of law enforcement, like District Attorney Morgenthau and District Attorney Vance, will actually persecute the victims of crimes because they're owned and operated by these rich donors who get a great benefit. They get a great benefit through Yeshiva University's tax exemption, and they also express their racism by donating to this school. And they own and operate the Democratic Party. We're going to get into some more of this because in New Jersey, in upcoming episodes, in New Jersey, one of the ways that votes are delivered to the Democratic Party is through the unions historically. And what Mr. Christie did, Governor Christie did in Jersey, is he showed how the unions in this one-party state in New Jersey is actually breaking the taxpayer through pension commitments. So the Democratic Party is not only hunting people like me, but they're hunting people like New Jersey Governor Mr. Christie because they perceive, some of them perceive that he's breaking their vote machine, and they get votes through the Democratic Party.
Well, that's me bring a point on. The unions are not breaking the pension program. The problem is that since Whitman took office back in the 90s, they have been taking money out of the pension plan. The last time I heard, it's $54 billion in arrears, and we, the pensioners, are being denied increments and other challenges. And there's nothing wrong with making sure that people pay, but again, they've not been paying. Now the governor is thinking about not doing his part and keeping his word to pay that pension.
Well, we're going to get to that. There's a very interesting New York Times article which shows that the unions were making demands from the taxpayer, and they're breaking the taxpayer, and Governor Christie was challenging the union, particularly the teachers' union, for small, relatively small percentages that they could afford. But that's one of the reasons why I believe he's being perceived as, trying to take apart the Democratic vote machine, because historically the Democrats get a lot of votes from the union. But we're going a little far afield. Let me play the video, which kind of sums things up a little bit according to our big picture, and because we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Remember, this is not the first time we're going to do this and talk about National Liberty Alliance and how we deal with a corrupt one-party system, a good old boy system, and how we're going to deal with the crimes in New Jersey and the crimes in New York. So you're one of the leadership people. I mean, I know you do a lot of community activism work that's very good. And as one of your efforts, you are the state coordinator for the common law to constitute common law grand juries in New Jersey. And I'm working with people to constitute common law grand juries in New York. Now, in New York, they don't want the common law grand jury, and they're fighting it tooth and nail, and we'll get into those details later, because we're challenging power. We're challenging the status quo.
So, not even challenging the status quo, they're challenging their checkbook.
That too.
That's about money.
That too. So if you'd be so kind, our technical director, to play our video, we'd appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Lydia Radin, and what you're about to listen to is about 11 minutes and 51 seconds of an audio tape telephone conversation that I had with a paralegal named Michael at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark, New Jersey. Now, why is this important? Because I had this conversation on February 11th, 2014. About 2 years ago, in March of 2012, I went to visit the U.S. Attorney's Office with a woman named Patricia Waiters. Patricia Waiters, unfortunately, had been terminated from her job as a corrections officer in Hudson County, and it's unfortunate that she had a case, but she blew it. and we can get into those details later, but what's important is we went to the U.S. Attorney's Office. This is the office that's headed by Paul J. Fishman. Paul J. Fishman was appointed to be the U.S. Attorney, the federal prosecutor in New Jersey by President Obama a few years before. So about March 2012, we go to visit the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we're there, and we're trying to push our cases forward. We talked to a paralegal named Constance Jones, and you'll see I took a videotape, and I have her card annexed to the end of this audio tape that you're going to listen to. You'll see the videotape of Constance Jones and Patricia Waiters, the African-American woman that I went with, her hair's in braids, to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Now, this is about March 2012. A few months later, we went to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington. And the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, and I had meetings with the Republicans, and Patricia Waiters was treated with contempt as she tried to move her case forward. We came back up to Jersey City, New Jersey, and we were told that we had to work with our local office. Well, we tried to work with our local office. That was the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark, and they claimed we were never there. Now, the videotape that I took shows that we were there. So the U.S. Attorney's Office is lying, and today they presume to investigate Republican Governor Chris Christie for the Bridgegate scandal. So our argument is, well, if you're going to go hunting for the Republicans, we got plenty of Democrats, we got plenty of wrongdoers in the Democratic Party, so is the U.S. Attorney's Office going to investigate them? And how can they possibly investigate anyone when I caught them lying? Now when I go to the U.S. Attorney's Office, I'm subject to retaliatory gestures, like they tried to stick the security guards on me, which is like ridiculous. So the bottom line is you need an independent federal prosecutor to investigate Governor Christie, and we want to go to the independent federal prosecutor because we caught the U.S. Attorney's Office lying. This is Paul Fishman's office, and as you can see, we were at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark. We did talk to Constance Jones. She's a paralegal. I do have the videotape that proves we were there. Now, not incidentally, this technique of lying and claiming that we were never there, which is like deny, 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 was also used against me when I went down to Adult Protective Services here in Brooklyn, New York, with Etelvina Povinetti. And she was applying for a one-time cash emergency grant to help pay for her back rent so she would not be evicted. We go down, I take her down to Adult Protective Services. A member of my tenants association came with us, and I took a videotape that shows Etelvina Povinetti was there. She was filling out paperwork with a supervisor at Adult Protective Services named Venetia Felder. So now I get a phone call from an attorney who works for the city of New York saying, oh, Etelvina Povinetti was never there. Blame the tenant, blame the tenant, blame the tenant. She didn't do what she was supposed to do. Yes, she did. The Adult Protective Services claims that she was never there. You just showed up with some man. Well, the man was William Doherty. He's a member of my tenants association. And Etelvina Povinetti was there because I have a videotape that shows she was there. So in Brooklyn, we've got Adult Protective Services, an agency that's supposed to be charged with not forcing little old ladies out of their rent-stabilized apartment. And what we demonstrated was that, in fact, Adult Protective Services, the very city agency that's charged with helping the residents of New York and Brooklyn in particular, conspire with the landlord to try to illegally evict a tenant. So I'm sure Adult Protective Services does not like me. And I got an attorney from the city of New York leaving me a voicemail saying that I was never there. I was there. So you go to these offices, you try to file your complaints, and they claim you were never there, or they throw out your complaints. So in this video, I'm following up with in this audio tape. I'm following up with a paralegal named Michael at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I go into some detail about my case. But what's very important is about 2 years before, in March of 2012, Patricia Waiters and I went down to the U.S. Attorney's Office. We spoke to a paralegal, Constance Jones. You'll see her card at the end of the audio tape. And you'll see you'll see the videotape, not all of it, but enough so that you can see that's Constance Jones, that's Patricia Waiters. I'm the one taking the video. And some months later, when we went to Washington, D.C. to try to talk to the U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C., the Newark office lied to the Washington, D.C. office and said we were never there, when in fact we were there, and I have the video that proves it. Now, it's unfortunate that Patricia Waiters sold out to Mayor Steve Fulop and lost her case and, told a pack of lies about me, unfortunately, and she was caught in those lies. She could have won her case. It's unfortunate that she lied. It's also really foolish for Patricia Waiters to lie about me, Lydia Radin, when I've got the videotape that shows she went down to the U.S. Attorney's Office and they lied and said she wasn't there. I mean, I think that's incredibly foolish of her, but that's what she did. And what's very important now in making the national headlines is that Paul J. Fishman is the U.S. Attorney in the office that lied, and he presumes to investigate Mr. Christie, or Governor Christie, in the Bridgegate scandal. Well, this U.S. Attorney should be investigating his own office. They should not be engaged in retaliatory gestures against me, Lydia Radin. When I go down there, I should not have to suffer the security guards in the building being sicked on me, unwarranted. And how is it possible that the U.S. Attorney's Office that lied is now going to go after Governor Christie? They should investigate themselves. I don't see how you can do that, but we need an independent federal prosecutor. And what I want to know is the U.S. Attorney's Office's Paul J. Fishman going to investigate all the Democrats, all the members of the Democratic Party who engaged in crimes against me, Lydia Radin, and didn't stop with me, but also perpetrated wrongs against a member of my tenants association, Pauline Roman, which I'll elaborate on more fully in other videos. So what you're going to hear is the audio tape of me talking to the paralegal, and then at the end of that audio tape, you're going to see the the business card and the videotape that shows Patricia Waiters and I did indeed visit the U.S. Attorney's Office. So the U.S. Attorney's Office, I caught lying. And we need an independent federal prosecutor. If you're going to hunt Republicans like Mr. Christie, well, then you can also hunt Democrats and all the Democrats who hurt me in New Jersey, including Ed DeFazio and all the other Democrats that I can name. We are going to the Committee for Investigation in the legislature with John Wisniewski, and we are going to the to Loretta Weinberg, I believe it is, and we're going to ask them. They have subpoena power and investigative power. Why don't they investigate the members of their own party, the Democratic Party, that hurt me and Pauline Roman? So it will be interesting to see whether the leaders in the New Jersey State Legislature on the Committee for Investigation, John Wisniewski and Loretta Weinberg, can also investigate the members of their own party, the Democratic Party, or are they going to show discrimination and only go after Republican Mr. Christie? Because that is really uncalled for. So let's see. Here we go.
You have reached the Newark office of the United States Attorney for the District of New Jersey. Our normal business hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Please be advised any message left on this voicemail will be subject to retention and archiving by the Department of Justice. If you know your party's 5-digit extension, please press 1. If you would like to dial by name, please press 2. If you would like to reach the Citizen Complaint Hotline, please press 3. If you would like to reach the Civil Rights Complaint Hotline, please press 4. If you would like to reach the receptionist, please press 0.
U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yes, is this the Citizens Complaint Hotline?
Yes, can I help you?
Yes, are you an attorney?
No, I'm a paralegal.
Oh, okay, good. Are you allowed to tell me at least your first name?
Well, let's just talk about your problem. What's going on? Can I help you with?
Well, I hate to call you Hey You, so can you at least tell me who you are?
My name is Michael.
Michael, thank you so much for taking my call today, Michael. The reason why I'm calling, and I hope you keep an open mind and don't get your back up, I understand that the U.S. Attorney's Office is investigating Mr. Christie's administration for the Bridgegate controversy. Is that correct?
Okay.
I thought there was an independent...
Hold on a second. I have to give you some specific language. Hold on.
Okay.
Our office is reviewing the matter to determine whether a federal law was implicated.
Okay, I understand that you have to say that, and I appreciate that. My question was, I thought there was an independent federal prosecutor appointed. Is that true or not true?
That's not something I have any knowledge of. I'm not involved with it myself. I know our office is involved in some aspect of this matter, basically what I just stated to you a minute ago.
Okay.
But me personally, I have no knowledge of exactly what's going on or who's involved or...
Okay, so the reason why I'm calling is because, and once again, I hope you don't get your back up and you just sort of, hear this with an open mind and then we can take the next appropriate steps. My question is, and I don't know, I'm just going to speak freely, okay, so I'm not going to be politically correct. It's hard for me to understand how the U.S. Attorney's Office, run by with great respect, sir, run by Paul Fishman, can investigate Governor Christie. When I came down to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark, I came down with a woman named Patricia Waiters. We had a complaint. Now, it's unfortunate that after we came down, Patricia Waiters ruined her case. She was a corrections officer who she claimed was fired unfairly, and she probably could have won her job back in damages. Unfortunately, she ruined her case, but that doesn't change the issue that she and I came down to Newark, and we came to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we spoke to a paralegal, Ms. Jones, and when we went to Washington to follow up, because the U.S. Attorney's Office was doing nothing for us for months, the Washington said we had to work with our local office. Well, we were like, well, we went to our local office, and our local office claimed we weren't there. Now, try to keep an open mind here. I'm saying this with great respect, sir. The Washington office of the U.S. Attorney's Office told the D.C. office that we weren't there, but I have the videotape that shows we were there. So now when I go to the U.S. Attorney's Office, I have to suffer retaliatory gestures. So how is it possible that the U.S. Attorney's Office that lied, and this is irrefutable, is now going to investigate Governor Christie? Shouldn't you guys be investigating yourself? And I know that sounded a little flippant, and I apologize for that.
I'm not a person who assigns cases or picks up investigations. That's
okay. So who would I talk?
I really can't answer.
Who would I talk to about the retaliatory gestures that I have to suffer because I caught the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark lying? I mean, which supervisor would I go to? I shouldn't have to come into your building and then, suffer retaliatory gestures and try to be bullied. It's not Governor Christie's office that's bullying me. They're trying to help. They're not bullies. You guys are bullying me. So, who do you want to take some time and talk to a supervisor and call me back? Because I shouldn't be bullied when I go down to Newark. And what I found very interesting...
Let me just take down your name because
okay.
I'm just going to get some information from you, just basic information.
Sure.
Your name and number. Just hold on to it because I'm a very slow typer.
Okay.
Your first name?
My first name is Lydia, L-I-D-Y-A.
Mm-hmm.
My last name is Radin, and it's R-A-D-I-N.
Okay.
My cell phone number is 516-445-4390, And I understand that Mr. Fishman was aggressively pursued healthcare fraud. Well, I have huge fraud at Jersey City Medical Center that my city councilman, Steve Fulop, has known about. Now he's mayor, and when I go into Jersey City, he makes up stories to the police, or he tries to portray me in a false light to have me arrested because I don't keep my mouth shut about the fact that the mayor of Jersey City is aware of very serious criminal conduct in my case, including federal student loan fraud at Yeshiva University, all kinds of fraud. And, you know, when I go down to the U.S. Attorney's Office, I get treated with contempt. Hello?
I mean, I'm not sure what happened. I'm not familiar with you. I don't believe.
There's an attorney there named Scott McBride. I think he's been there for like 5 years. Scott McBride was hired by Mr. Christie, and I talked to Scott McBride probably in 2008, and I put some flyers and some other documentary evidence in his hands. I'm willing to work with Mr. Scott McBride. I will say and do whatever he needs me to say and do to organize the evidence that he needs so that the criminals in my case can be prosecuted. Now, it's not just about me. This is CrookedDoctors at Jersey City Medical Center. They falsified medical records.
Yeah, so you're having so I understand you had an issue with our office, but you're calling about a crime being committed, I'm hearing, about something that happened at Jersey City Medical Center?
The crime of false imprisonment, yes, sir, and fraud, and bona fide fraud, and Medicaid fraud. My city council knows all about this. This isn't this. Go ahead.
Just one thing. This is going to sound a little hard to explain, but our office is not normally an investigative agency. I know my office.
Oh, I know. We went to the FBI. We went to the FBI.
And normally.
And you know what? When we were sitting there filling out the complaint forms, one of the FBI agents that we had talked to wandered into the office, and we said, "Hi, remember us? We talked to you at the FBI." So yes, we did everything we were supposed to do. At every level. We went to the police. I have police reports where my mother went to the police when this happened. They didn't help us. They lied, I'm sorry to report. We went to the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. Debbie Simon lied. She's a prosecutor at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. Tracy McQuaid lied. Ed DeFazio has been conspiring in crimes against me since 2005. I've been trying to get some relief for federal student loan fraud and federal Pell Grant fraud since 2005. Ed DeFazio, metaphorically speaking, not literally, spit in my face. He tried to act like a bully. When I went to his office to talk to him, he tried to intimidate me.
All this stuff. Let me give it to some people above me to look at.
Okay.
To do the number of inquiries we receive every day. A member of our staff may not be able to follow up with you regarding the complaint, but I'll run it.
Could you put in my complaint that I will say and do whatever you need me to say and do to get the evidence for these people to be prosecuted? And I'm sorry that it goes all the way to U.S. Senator Robert Menendez, but he was my congressman, and that office made phone calls to Ed DeFazio. So I'm sorry that there are a whole lot of, important Democrats who have participated in crimes against me and in the taxpayers, but those are the facts. So I appreciate that you're trying to make a good faith effort here. I really do. Tell whoever to refer my case to Mr. Scott McBride, and I have more evidence that I know what to do with, and I would be happy to cooperate in any way possible. And I will make an issue that Mr. Fishman, and I'll make an issue in Washington, and I'll make an issue internationally if I have to. You cannot go after my governor unless you can't go on a witch hunt to the Republicans unless you deal with the real crimes that the Democrats are responsible for. And there are other people reaching out to me who also have the same elected officials doing the same corrupt stuff. So we got a whole lot of people, we're still going to go to the state legislature with the jury at the state legislature. I believe that they have government oversight committees that have subpoena power. They're going to have to deal with this too. So please take my complaint and let me know what I can say and do to make sure that the criminals in my case get prosecuted promptly. And then I'm
helping.
Okay, so how do I follow up with you, sir?
Like I said, I'm going to forward it to people in my office, and like I said before,
Should I call you and follow
Required to
you?
receive every day. A member of our staff may or may not follow up with you regarding your complaint, depending on if it's something we can assist you with.
Oh, I think federal crimes, and I was physically assaulted at Jersey City Medical Center.
Again, ma'am, I'm going to pass.
Wait. No, this should be put in. The crime of violence against me was solicited. So municipal court judge from North Bergen, Nino Falcone, solicited the crime of violence against me. That would be 18 U.S.C. 373, I believe. I could get that section wrong, but I'll correct it. But that is a federal crime, soliciting the crime against violence against me. I was physically assaulted and almost murdered at Jersey City Medical Center. That is very serious, and that is not going away. Hello?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, so I'm going to continue to follow up, but it doesn't go away when I have videotape that shows me and Patricia Waiters talking to a paralegal, Constance Jones, and then the Newark office lies to D.C. and says we weren't there. And I got the videotape that shows we were there. So, I'm not going to suffer any more retaliatory gestures. I would think that if Mr. Fishman is the honorable man that he claims to be, then your office should be taking this very seriously and not retaliating against me.
Okay.
And we're going to give you every opportunity to do the right thing, no pun intended.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, ma'am.
Bye.
Goodbye.
They won't even talk to her. Okay, go ahead.
You know why he did that? I went to the field and we took a tree up and this piece recorded and this be on the record. I go to every field and this is yesterday's date. This was recorded, right? On Thursday, this was recorded. I want to put this portion. I said, with the law, that's who pays for work with me. I showed them that they could put it evidence. I did lose my job, right? Thinking they will work with me. When I came to talk to you on the 25th, I went to the 2027. He says it, he did that. They don't want to be bothered. And this is because he's been writing in. Because this is the new one I just submitted. And here go the letter to the judge. It's the main thing I want to do that. I don't know if we had it when I came that day. I was a little emotional. I gave this to the judge saying everything. Thanks for letting me utilize this letter. And I asked him what to file. Okay, and this is what I'm going to do. I found out that the judge did contact the guest. So that's how they wrote it. Yeah, he won't do it.
Is my mic on?
You know what's really sad?
Okay.
My name's Lydia Reagan.
Wait.
Do you have a card, Miss Jones?
Actually, I didn't bring any with me, but I do.
Can you just? Okay. You know what's sad about this is I made a couple phone calls. People are willing to come forward. Like, she's telling the truth. I'm like, would you be willing to? Would you be willing to talk to an investigator?
What we're looking at right now, this is Constance Jones. She's a paralegal at the U.S. Attorney's Office, Jason. We're looking at a videotape. Patricia Waiters and I went down to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark.
Phone call.
In March.
I mean, you're talking about.
I'm talking over the video a little bit.
If I talk to people willing to.
We're almost done.
Do you want them to call you, or would you call them?
Well, what I want to do is, we have the civil rights attorney here.
Okay, I'm going to ask the technical director. You can stop the video now.
To do because it may.
Okay, so Jason, what we saw at the end was Patricia Waiters and I went to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark in March of 2012, and I have a videotape. Constance Jones was the woman we were talking to. She's a paralegal. She gave us her business card. I can show this videotape again. So this is March of 2012, and what Constance Jones was telling us was, okay, Patricia Waiters is trying to bring her case forward. She claimed to have been fired unfairly at the Hudson County Jail. She probably could have won her case, but for the fact that she sold out to Mayor Steve Fulop, and we'll get to those details later. But the important fact was we went down to the U.S. Attorney's Office in March of 2012. Several months later, we went down to Washington. Now, Patricia Waiters, who's got a photograph of President Obama's arm around her, because when she was working as an aide to one of our city council people in Jersey City, they went to an event, and that was then Senator Obama, encouraged Patricia Waiters, come take your picture with me, someday I'm going to be president, blah, blah, blah. And so we go down to Washington. I say, okay, go to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington. It is your constitutional right to petition your government for redress of grievances. You can't get any play in Hudson County. You went to the U.S. Attorney's Office. You went to the city officials. You went to the county officials. You went to the state officials. You went to the U.S. Attorney's Office. You did everything you were supposed to do. We go down to we're playing in their ball field in New Jersey. It's a good old boy network. You can't get anywhere. We got in our cars. We drove down to Washington. She went to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington. She couldn't get past the front door. So me and Paul Brewer went and had meetings with the Republicans. We went to Congressman Micah's office, and his chief of staff was trying to be very helpful. So even though he was pressed for time, he was very professional, and even though he was pressed for time, he was trying to make a conference call. He still gave us a few minutes. Then we went over to Senator Grassley's office, and we sat down and talked to 3 investigators. Paul Brewer was going to get a parking ticket, so I sent him out to make sure that he moved his car, and I continued talking to the investigators. So I had meetings with the Republicans. Paul Brewer came with me. We got in our cars. We went back to Jersey City, and this is what we got. We got the Newark office, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark, told the Washington office that we were never there. Washington kept telling us, work with your local office. We're like, we made good faith efforts to work with our local office, and they lied and said we weren't there. I have the videotape that shows we were there. Okay, so now when I go to the U.S. Attorney's Office, I get put through these retaliatory gestures where they sick the security guards on me. So now when we go down, me and Pauline Roman and William Doherty, and we make our proper complaints and we try to follow up, I have the security guards being sicked on me for no good reason, and another pack of lies that I have to deal with. So now we've got the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark. This is Paul Fishman's office, Paul Fishman is appointed by President Obama in 2009. So how is it possible for this office to investigate anybody? They should be investigating themselves. What do you think, Jason?
Well, as a result, they really can't investigate themselves because that would be a conflict of interest. Actually, it needs to be the common law grand jury, as can be done on the federal level. And once the federal level of the common law grand jury states are convened, we'll be able to take on the feds, and that will address that. But right now, in the state of New Jersey, they can also be investigated by the common law grand jury of the state because it happened in New Jersey. Even though the feds are above the state, they are not above the law.
Thank you. Thank you.
And no one's above the law. Judges are not above the law. Prosecutors are not above. And not even the president is above the law. When Nixon was brought up on impeachment, which he should have been found guilty and put in jail, but Ford said enough is enough, gesund in Yiddish. It should have been. He should have kept firing on because again, Ford would have gotten. I'm a registered Democrat all my life.
You're an independent. You're an independent. You ran as an independent.
Well, I'm independent, but I've been a registered Democrat. But because I never wanted that way. All right, I've been a registered Democrat. I'm independent-minded, but I stay with the party.
No, you ran in Jersey City as an independent.
Right.
And one of the things that can happen, and this is important, is that the officials, the city council in Jersey City, can be removed. Mayor Steve Fulop can be removed for moral turpitude. Now, in my case, which is a huge opportunity to every Democratic rival, every independent rival, and every Republican rival. So, the bottom line is Mayor Steve Fulop needs to be removed for moral turpitude.
And my question here to you, when can that go into play?
Well, that's what
you got all the ammunition. What's stopping you from getting that end result of him being removed from office for moral turpitude?
The good old boy system here, because the people that should be doing this are the assistant attorney generals at the state attorney general's office. So when I've already contacted the Hudson County Election Board. They have a assistant attorney general. They're like, write it up, put it in writing, and we'll go forward. But remember, me and Pauline Roman have already been to the state attorney general's office. She's still waiting for someone to get back to her because he's been on vacation for like a year.
That's wonderful. But when did you submit your documentation to the establishment of stupidity?
Well, I've been doing it all along, and the reason why I now submit my documents to the State Attorney General's office through Governor Christie's office, through the Office of Constituent Affairs, is because when I would submit my documents directly to the State Attorney General's office, they would be misconstrued, and the responses I would get back would be so completely and utterly divorced from the complaint that I put in that it didn't even make any sense. It was like irrational.
Of course, we're not dealing with people that... You see, once you are trying to work in their legal statutes, codes, and ordinances, they find any excuse for a tyrant. The real thing is, you've been submitting it to Governor Christie. Where is his action on this? Because he was originally a prosecutor in 2009 that put like 48 people in jail, and one or two people got away. But the real irony of that court case was that the federal government, the FBI, supposed to be high and mighty, went and did an illegal transaction to get other people to do an illegal transaction. Ergo, if you start with a flawed document, it is de facto. So everyone who is convicted of a crime of corruption and money laundering should be found innocent by the virtue of de factoism of the federal government because they began with the crime to get other people in the crime.
Well, to answer your question, Governor Christie is now governor, so he's not the prosecutor. What they will do, and they have been trying to be very helpful, is that what they will do is they'll take my complaints and they'll forward it to the State Attorney General's office, so the State Attorney General's office has no plausible deniability. So that's good. And
But the thing is that it's going to them, and they're still dragging their feet.
Because we're in a one-party good old boy system. Wait. So the answer to your question is we also attack this on multi-levels. Now, as I explained to you, and William Doherty and I have done this, and so have Pauline Roman, is that we go to the Hudson. This is an important pearl of information. One of the things that we do is we go to Hudson County freeholders meetings, and we stand there with our handy-dandy little tape recorders in our hands, and we show them. We're like, here's our tape recorder. And the Hudson County, the freeholders meetings have a court reporter. The court reporter types up a transcript as we're speaking during the public portion section. We get 5 minutes to speak. So I tried to take one litigation point, something really easy to understand that I can do in 5 minutes. I hold up my tape recorder, or I'm there with my video camera, and I say to them, don't you dare change that transcript. Because if you change that transcript, I'm going to get you for changing an open public record. And that transcript goes directly to the State Attorney General's office. So I'm not speaking to the freeholders. I'm speaking to the State Attorney General through that transcript. And then you watch them all squirm. So that's another way to get...
point information, people don't realize it. Any change in any document, a public record, or submitted by an individual to the establishment, and it's changed, deleted, or thrown away, is a felony, and they can get charges from 1 year up to 20. And I don't even know if that's per count, because if you look back on what you've been doing for the number of years you've been working it since the 90s, your people will go away for a century. A minimum of a century.
That's why we're shaking up the system. And as my case goes forward, I think I heard a criticism that said, oh my goodness, it's like too big to prosecute. Remember when Donald Trump got into trouble and you heard stuff like, oh, too big to fail? You know, like if you and I couldn't pay back our loans, they would come after us. But you have some organizations where it's like too big to fail, so they prop them up. Some of the criticism that I heard in my case is, oh, it's too big to prosecute. It's not. It will wipe out significant...
That's true. The whole point is that they don't want to go through the effort to do the right thing, to work with truth, justice, and fair play, and make sure that if there is a criminal act, there is a victim. They don't want to correct the victim's victimization, because then they're all going to be accountable, because everyone is part of the hiding of the truth. And that means that everyone from the President of the United States down to the little guy in doing a job could be indicted, and nobody wants to see anyone pay the price of this hypocrisy. The state is de factoed, which means that it's illegal, it's unconstitutional. Nobody wants to be constitutional responsible for what they've done in the past. And there's no way, this will go off on course, there's no way this country can fix all the wrongdoing, but it can definitely recognize its hypocrisy against the Native American Indians, the Afro-American slaves, and so on and so forth. But again, recognizing that you did something wrong is more essential than giving someone money, because everyone who's been victimized will be vindicated.
That's true. In my case, I do want money, and I want, all the money that I paid for classes I never took returned, and I want damages. I want what I would have earned as a physician. And unfortunately, and I say this to Pauline Roman, the only thing these people have is money. So, I'd like my life back, but they can't give me my life back. So they're not going to give me my health back. So the best thing that they can do is give me money, and it's got to cost them a lot of money. So much money that they never think of doing this to anyone again. And that's why 34 students are suing Yeshiva University today. I got to follow up on the case because I haven't been able to follow it as closely as I want to. But the 34 former students filed a complaint against Yeshiva University for hundreds of millions of dollars because they understand it's got to hurt. So yeah. Can we show the technical director, can we show the website for the National Liberty Alliance? Because we're coming towards the end of this program, but every Tuesday night, Jason, I understand you have a regular Monday night conference call, right?
Yes, there are conference calls for North Carolina at Sunday at 9 o'clock. National is Mondays at 9 o'clock. The telephone number is on the website for National Liberty Alliance. John Jaresh is our national leader, and on Thursdays there you can access my account of my program.
Oh, that's right. You're going to have your own free open conference call too.
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is, if you want to learn more about constituting a common law grand jury, there's a lot of information on the National Liberty Alliance website, but you can join the Blog Talk Radio every Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I'm showing the website now. If you'd be so kind as to put the cursor over the tab that says Judicial, you'll see that there is a required reading list that shows that all of this is legitimate, and I understand that some years back the FBI investigated this group, and they were thrilled. They were so happy. They laid out all their arguments and all the Constitution, and the FBI was forced to admit that, yes, what you're doing is lawful.
And a point of information, it's very good that they recognize the common law grand jury. The common law grand jury is different from the corporate grand jury because we, the people, are in control of the common law grand jury. We set up the juries for the prosecution of individuals who are seen to be imprudent and suspicion of doing wrongdoing. The corporate grand jury of the counties and the state are run by the judges who are not supposed to be members of the bar, and the Bar Association is part of England. It's called Esquires under Knights, and they they tell the people what they want to do. There's no latitude or longitude of how this grand jury can go. And also the fact that when we are doing this, the FBI, there's another group that they don't confuse sovereign natural people, men and women, to be confused with sovereign citizens, which is considered an extreme terrorist group.
Okay, so can you go to the next tab, because I want to show the this is the judicial, but actually can you go to the tab that says states, because I want to show the state coordinator, because Jason is the go to services. I'm sorry. Services. There. Nope. Sorry. Oh, contacts. I'm sorry. Go to contacts. and go to state coordinator. And I'm showing right now, if you scroll down just a little, on the New Jersey, you're going to see Jason's name come up. Can you highlight it right there, Jason? Right there, New Jersey, right there. Jason's phone number is 201-240, there we go, 201-240-5351. He is the state coordinator in New Jersey for the common law, not to be confused with the grand jury that the prosecutors run. This is the common law grand jury. This is for the people, by the people. And you can contact Jason in New Jersey to join the common law grand jury. How much time do we have left? Do you know? I think we're running towards the 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes left, Jason.
All right. Well, let me just say this. If people want to hear what's happening in New Jersey, Thursday nights from 7 to 9, they can call into 712-432-0075. The access number is 143013, and there is a playback number for each event, 712-432-1085. And
okay. So you run a free conference call. You're starting to run a free conference call every Thursday night. We got about 2 minutes left, so very slowly talk the audience through it. Go ahead.
Basically, we want to educate every sovereign person in the state of New Jersey and across the country how to organize themselves, what they need to do, how to conduct themselves. No one can identify themselves as a jurist, but you can identify yourself if you're an administrator in that county as an administrator. You are not to be there to threaten people. You just say, I don't like what's going on, and I'm going to submit my indignation to the county grand jury to look at this as a possible indictment. We're not on a witch hunt. We're not to be vindictive. We are here to be objective, not subjective. The worst thing a good man can do is nothing, and you can either be part of the action, of positive action, or don't be a negative distraction.
Can you give us the number for your regular Thursday night conference call as we go out?
Yes, it's 712-432-0075. The access number is 143013. Playback number of any of the shows is 712-432-1085. It's done by free conferencing, and anybody wants to set up their own conferencing, they can go to freeconference.com and get their own thing together. And we all are in this boat together. If you don't like what's going on in your county, in your country, and around the world, we are the foundation to take back our republic from the bureaucrats. We are not anti-American or anti-government. We are using the laws that are guaranteed in the Constitution. We have our unalienable rights to address grievances to our government, and as long as you do it with a passion, without anger, no one can stop you. Once you throw a punch at the establishment, they will attack you with fervor and destroy you.
So Jason, we're going to go out in just a few seconds. Your regular conference call is on Thursday nights at what time?
7 to 9 p.m.
7 to 9 p.m. You've repeated the access number. You'll come on my show again, and we'll continue to educate our brothers and sisters about what we need to do to take our country back.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. We'll be speaking more. We are empowering people to take back the republic. Without people, we are slaves to the establishment, our servants. Don't be a slave. Be your own master.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you so much, Lydia, and thank you, everyone who's listening.
And thank you, MNN, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, for helping us broadcast today.
God bless you all.